Hi everyone, it's Dr. Schaefer. Today I want to talk about what it's like living in a house with an unsafe person. When you live in a house with an unsafe person, you become very observant, hyper aware of your surroundings. As a neurologist, I compare the experience of living with an abusive person and how it changes your perception, similar to the change in perception for people who have other neurological or sensory processing issues that necessitate that they approach their environment and assess their environment differently using different tools and focusing on different things than if they didn't have those challenges. A person with neuropathy, in other words, they have an issue with their nerves. Sometimes they can't feel well in their feet. That's quite common. A person with neuropathy or damage to their nerves, for example, that commonly seen in patients with diabetes, can lead to numbness in your feet, decreased sensation that makes it so when you are navigating your environment, you're not getting the same amount of signal from your feet as you would have before you had that problem of neuropathy. And that means to navigate your physical environment safely, you have to do different things. You need to keep the lights on. You need to avoid things you might trip on because you're not going to get the signal from your body to your brain to basically not trip after you've come into contact with something with your foot. You're not going to have the same warning before you fall. And we all know, especially as we get older, we really want to avoid falls. They're so dangerous. So when we have neuropathy, we're doing everything we can. We're keeping walkways well lit. We are making sure there aren't things on the floor we're going to trip on. If we have hearing problems, we're going to make sure we are addressing our hearing problems or at least not worsening our hearing by, for instance, even having a lot of competing noise in a situation because of all of this input that's distracting us from what we're trying to focus on for our safety, walking. It's going to just be an extra challenge. So not only are we trying to take away challenges to our system, we're trying to maximize our ability to use what we have to overcome that challenge. And that's really what we're all doing in life in general, isn't it? One of the examples I would give to patients who came to me for neuropathy, which is quite common, was when we can understand how this affects us best is often in the shower. We're taking a shower and it's a small space. It's loud because of the sound of the water falling, and the water sounds are echoing because it's a closed chamber. And we can't hear well because we're hearing those echoes. We're hearing that water. We may even have water in our ears. Our hands are covering our ears as we wash our hair. And if we don't feel the ground well, we're not getting the feedback of where we are in space from our feet as well as we would have before. And it's a slippery surface, right? So our contact with that surface may not be as good as if we're just walking around on dry floor in good shoes or barefoot, right? So we've got those challenges, and then it's time to wash your hair. And you put the soap on your hands, and you put your hands in your hair, and what do you usually do? You close your eyes. And once you close your eyes, all of a sudden the scales can really, really tip against your favor of maintaining your balance, because your balance requires all of these inputs to tell your brain where your body is in space, right? You need those inputs to stay safe and to stay upright. And when you close your eyes and you have neuropathy and you're not getting adequate feedback because you can't hear, you can't see, and you can't very well feel the ground, all of a sudden you can lose your balance and you can fall and get hurt. And so that's why we talk about things like having shower chairs and grip bars and things like that in the shower, because we know very well as neurologists and your primary care physicians, we know that that can be a dangerous situation when you're facing those challenges such as neuropathy. So I was thinking about this and how when you're dealing with trauma, your senses also change. I used to have these conversations several times an hour with patients about all of the little things that add into our perception of the world, the stimuli, the feedback we're getting from the world to keep us safe, to keep us upright, to keep us walking the way we want to so we don't fall, because a lot of patients were seeing me for things like neuropathy, imbalance, dizziness, falls. So this was a conversation I had several times an hour often with patients to try to better help them understand the issue, how they were affected by the issue, and things they could do to improve their safety and their quality of life. The person who's living in an unsafe environment with an unsafe person is also using their senses in an unusual way to adjust to that environment, to that stimuli, or to the lack of safety, and to try to improve their situation, to try to survive, to try to stay upright, to try to not fall down and get hurt, but in an emotional way and sometimes in a physical safety way as well. Even when sleeping, the smallest change in the background noise can be perceived. The way sound changes when another person stands in a doorway, it muffles the sound of what's entering the room. Let's say you've got a beeping fire alarm, a floor down, or in a different room, and you're used to hearing that beeping fire alarm that you know you need to change for safety, and you know you need to change it, but your brain has put it into background noise. And you could wake up in the middle of the night because someone's standing in your doorway, because your brain is so hyper attuned to every sound, to every change in its environment, because it knows it's not safe, that it notices that there's a difference in the way that sound is traveling from the fire alarm to you, and you wake up because someone's standing in your doorway. And it could be a stranger, but it could be someone that you know quite well. The sound of changes in weather can wake someone up out of a sleep, again, because even just a change in the wind or the rain that normally wouldn't have woken you up, you are so hyper attuned to your environment that you can't even sleep soundly, even if that person isn't there, because your body has understood for so long that it needed to react to every small change to keep you safe. The perception of not only slight changes in external environment, but even in that person, slight changes in tone or expression, not adjusting or perceiving these things could have great consequences for you. So you learn to pay a great deal of attention to small environmental changes that many would never notice. And when you're doing this, you are investing so much energy in survival. When you're in that phase of survival, you're not able to invest your energy in the things that you want to invest in the higher level desires and needs, because your brain and your body knows, number one is you need to be alive. You need to survive. You need to get through this moment. So if you are in a situation where you are finding that you are having to be so hyper attuned to your environment, that's a really big cue from your body that something's not right and something needs to change for your safety, because you can't keep living in that kind of environment. I want you to be safe. I want you to protect yourself and see your worthiness and truly believe that you deserve to be in an environment where your safety needs are met. If you're unsafe in this moment, I hope that you make choices to protect your safety. Now that's different for everyone and different in different moments. Those of us who are trauma informed and who have experienced trauma and abuse, we understand that. If for your immediate safety you need to call the police, you need to do it. You can't protect someone else from themselves. You need to protect you. If you have resources in your area, I know my area has a wonderful resource called the Women's Resource Center. If you have resources in your area or national hotlines, please use them. Please seek therapy if you think that would be helpful for you. And please speak your truth to trustworthy, safe people in your life. Do not allow yourself to be isolated. Isolation kills us. It kills our spirit. So please, thank you so much for spending this time with me because we're not alone. We're together right now. And please keep coming back. Reach out for help. Stay safe. And if you're interested in individual consultation with me to help unpack this and help move forward in your life, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to work with you. Take care. I'll talk to you next time.